Those Buffalo Bills, they like to make it interesting. I'm not sure they're fully back, but they won the game. They are now 5-3. 24-18 was the final score. I was kind of hoping Buccaneers Hail Mary at the end and make it interesting because they got the 2-point conversion. They would have won the game. And a little weird thing there with at the Hail Mary attempt. Nobody touched the ball. That was weird. There should be a little like a bounce here and a bounce there to make it interesting. But those Buffalo Bills, they like to make it interesting, but sometimes the games are a little boring. But I'll get to my point eventually about those Bills. I'm Gilberto Manzano. I cover the NFL for Sports Illustrated, and I'm also a co-host and the co-founder of Compas on the Beat. Welcome to Compas on the Beat. And we like to look ahead here. It's week 8. We'll do a little recap, but it's still week 8 of the NFL season. Bills, Buccaneers. And we're going to look forward to the Bengals and the 49ers, Steelers and the Jaguars, Browns and the Seahawks. So a lot to get to. But as always, this show's about you, the listeners and viewers about, I was going to say House of Horns. What's up, Bolts? Compass on the Beat. So a lot of channels here. We get together to talk about football. Fantasy football questions are encouraged. I know people always say, I don't want to talk about your fantasy football team. Here, that's okay. So before I keep rambling and going on and on and on, got to introduce the guy, the voice of Compass on the Beat, Vic, the producer, Victor Javier Corona. Vic, how you doing?
Doing good. That was quite the ending there to a pretty kind of low of a game between the Bills and the Buccaneers. Two straight weeks where we have a Thursday night game coming down to the end. But I'm doing good. Good to be here. Good to be previewing. I can't believe we're halfway through the season, I guess, technically, Gilbert. So, but glad to be here to preview week 8, and let's get it rolling, Gilbert. Go ahead and
Yeah.
keep it going.
Yeah, first of all, I never know when is the halfway mark of the NFL season ever since they added that extra week, week 18. And so it throws, everything a little off here. But I guess week 9, maybe, but week 8 counts too, whatever. Or is it, yeah, week 17, week 18, who cares? I don't know. But they don't play an odd number anymore. That's why it's confusing. That's my point. But yeah, let's get on to the Thursday night football recap before we look ahead to the games on Sunday. I did get it right. Bills beat the Buccaneers 24-18. And I guess I'll start this way, Vic. I'll give the engagement question. And I called the Bills pretenders Sunday after they lost to the Patriots. Luckily for the Bills, though, when you lose a game, that poorly against a poor team, you want to just, get back on the field and shake it off. And they did it 4 days later. But that's my question. The engagement question of the week for this episode, looking ahead, are the Bills pretenders? Are they still pretenders? Because I call them pretenders. A lot of people call them pretenders too. When you have to survive a game against the Giants, you lose to the Patriots. Uh, they lost to the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. So this team seems like they still haven't found their identity, their offensive rhythm. When you're up 24-10, you better close out the Buccaneers. They did not. So I still view the Bills as pretenders. I was impressed with Josh Allen. They got James Cook involved. They got Khalil Shakir involved, a wide receiver. Gabe Davis stepped up. Big game Gabe all of a sudden. So I like all that. But when you win by 6 points to the Buccaneers and you still got to sweat, I don't like that. Vic, what do you say about these Bills?
I picked them to go to the Super Bowl this year, and I'm starting to get a little worried about that pick just because of how many players they've lost on defense. That was my biggest question. With this team was can they avoid injuries, and injury bug continues to bite this team. Unfortunately, they lose Milano. They're one of their best linebackers. They've lost. They've lost their cornerbacks. I mean, it's been really bad for them, and I want to say that they're not pretenders as long as they have Josh Allen, and I'm gonna stick with that. That they're still, as long as you have a top 5 quarterback, and I know a lot of people are jumping off the bandwagon on Josh Allen, but I just feel like as long as you have him, you're gonna be kind of like the whole Joe Burrow thing. You're gonna be in it. You still have Stephon Diggs. You have talent along this, offense. My biggest question mark is can they have enough healthy bodies come the playoff, Gilbert?
Yeah, and before I respond to your comments, a reminder: this show's about you, the listeners and viewers of Compass on the Beat. Same thing with House of Horns. What's up, Boats? I know we're live on all 3 channels, so don't be shy. Get in the comments. Give us your takeaways about Thursday Night Football. Maybe you have some questions about the Chargers or the Rams. Maybe you want to really talk about the Bengals and the 49ers. We want to see comments. We want to see questions. And of course, we encourage fantasy football questions. If you have somebody that you're unsure of about for a flex, let us know. A lot of people told me earlier today on the TikTok live, should I start Chris Godwin? I said no, but he scored a touchdown anyways. So there you go. But somebody did ask me on TikTok live, should I take Buccaneers plus 10? I said do it, and they got that correct because the Buccaneers scored at the end. But yeah, betting questions, picks, fantasy football, get in the comments and let us know. And Vic, to your point about sticking with the Bills to be your Super Bowl team, at SI they asked us, we have like an exercise. You could change your Super Bowl picks because when we get to the midway point, I'm still undecided because I got the Bengals and the 49ers. You know, the Bengals started slow, but they're surging. The 49ers did well. Now they're on the opposite. I think I might stick with it, but I'm gonna watch this game closely. We'll get to it. But I like that you're sticking with the Bills. You know, you don't like to go back and forth. So I do appreciate that. And to your point about the defense, I know it's the Buccaneers, but they actually played pretty well today. They held the Buccaneers to 302 yards, total yards of offense, and besides that one last drive, they did pretty well. They were shutting down, you know, Baker, Mike Evans, Godwin, the running back White there. So I know it's the Buccaneers, but that's something you could, you know, maybe take on and say, okay, we're right on track here to make something happen here. But I don't know what you think, Vic, about maybe the offense. Did it seem better for you at least, or the defense? Did you feel like I was onto something there?
You know what is crazy is that through 7 games, the Bills offense is actually doing better than last season, which is
Wow.
hard to believe. The numbers, and this is something that I kind of been listening to and been hearing from people, is that the the Bills offense has actually been better under this coordinator than it was under Brian Dable. The thing is that what we fixate on is the fact that Brian Dable took this Bills offense from really bad because of the struggles that Josh Allen had to really good. And so now we just think that they took a step back, but that's actually not what they've done. They've actually gotten better. And I think our biggest criticism, Gilbert, I know you agree with this, is they don't run the ball enough because they rely too much on Josh Allen. But I think at this point we know what this team is as long as they have Josh Allen, they're going to continue to do that. But we have a question for you here, Gilbert, that I want to
Yeah.
go ahead and uh, put on here. It says, which trade do you like? One, trade Connor, Christian Kirk, and Russ for Hurts and DJ Moore, or two, Connor and Russ for Hurts. 20-man redraft PPR. My roster is Russ, JT, A. Jones, Tyreek, Christian Kirk, Kittle, and Myers. By the way, Gilbert, I think I have I have A. Jones, and I'm like ready to give up on him already. He's got way too many injuries. I'm
Yeah.
tired of waiting for him to get healthy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for the question, Josh. Shout out to you, Josh. And I'm guessing Russ, Vic, is Russell Wilson. Is that who we're talking about?
I would guess so. I can't think of another
Okay.
Russ.
Yeah, let us know, Josh, if Russ is actually Russell Wilson. But I'm trying to process here. I'm such a slow reader. So it's two trade scenarios. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, two trade scenarios. Which one do you like? Number one or
Okay.
number two?
So if Russ is Russell Wilson with Christian Kirk, James Conner is hurt, right? He's on IR,
Yes.
and you get Hurts and DJ Moore. If you're the one getting Hurts and DJ Moore, I like that. Well, I'm guessing because he's gonna have Russ and Connor again, for her or just for Hurts. Okay, straight out. Try to get the first one. Get DJ Moore in there. What do you think, Vic?
Yeah, I like that. If you can get Hurts and DJ Moore, the problem is you don't know when Fields is going to be back. But if you're doing
Yeah,
well,
true.
like let's say you're doing well already in the standings and you can wait for him, I say go ahead and make the trade. But if you're hurting, like you need to catch up and you're down in the standings, I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, and then even if you can't get the first trade, if the person you're trading with doesn't want to give up DJ Moore, even James Conner and Russell Wilson for Hurts is good. I think Jalen Hurts is one of these top five quarterbacks. Or even though he might have maybe he has an interception or a bad day passing, he can still get you those goal line touchdowns with the touch push there. So that's a safe bet there. And then, yeah, looking at the rest of the roster here, JT, Jonathan Taylor, yeah, Aaron Jones, you're frustrated, but not a bad combination of running backs.
I mean, you have Tyreek and
Yeah, Kirk.
Myers.
And I think even Kirk is on the rise because he's been Lawrence's go-to guy. So, yeah, you're hurting at quarterback. So you want to do number two, that's fine. I will push for number one, and we're in agreement here with Victor. But yes, keep sending more comments, more questions. Fantasy football questions are encouraged, like we say. And before we move on to the rest of the schedule, Vic, with these Buccaneers now, they are what, like 3-5? Am I correct? Yeah, 3 or 3-4. Yeah,
Yeah,
3-4.
Fernando's Buccaneers, as we call them.
Yeah, they're fading a little bit, and that's kind of the Baker Mayfield experience. You know, they're high and they're low, and it's just never consistent there. And that's why the second it started going down, I'm like, all right, I'm out of the Baker Mayfield experience. Like I've seen this movie way too many times, and I feel bad for the people who ask me, should I start Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? I keep saying no, no, no. Like they still got their touchdowns and it's fine, but I just don't like this Buccaneers offense. And also, Vic, this defense has been fading a little bit too, and when the defense is not working for the Sosa offense, that's when it goes really south for the Buccaneers. But they're now 3-4, and we've been talking about the 7th seed at House of Horns, Victor. Good opportunity for the Rams to climb up to number 7. Good opportunity for the Commanders too, who have been fading, or even the Saints there, because I think the Falcons are 4-3 in the NFC South. They're in first place, so NFC South and then the 7th seed are up for grabs, and the Buccaneers are seem to be fading for me. But one more from Josh here before we move on. So you guys value more over Kirk? Mm,
That's a
I
good
don't.
question.
What do you think, Vic?
You know, just because oh man, just because I think Fields is hurt, I don't know what to expect from that team right now. We don't even know how long he's going to be out. That's what I'm saying. I would say that it's right now it's even until we know what how long Fields is going to be out with that thumb injury.
Yeah, I'm hesitant too, but I'll say this: hold on one more week for DJ Moore because, no offense, people from What's Up Boats, the Charger secondary is pretty bad, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Badgett has a day on Sunday Night Football with DJ Moore. So maybe hold on a week. I don't know.
One more question from Josh.
Is he gonna go massively downhill once Zay Jones comes back? I don't think so. I think Christian Kirk is the speedy guy. He's gonna get the touchdowns, but it'll be nice though when Zay comes back and Lawrence gets all three guys involved. You know, Ridley and Kirk. But for some reason, even when like right now, you would think Ridley will be the one stepping up without Zay Jones, but it's all Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne. So yeah, your
And that's
Etienne.
what I was gonna say. The way Travis Etienne is going right now, especially what I think he's got two touchdown. I think he's got two touchdown games so far this season. And so if they're gonna keep feeding him, it's gonna be hard to get everybody else involved. So that's another
Yeah.
thing to keep in
He
mind.
might have like 7 or 8 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks,
Yeah.
ETN. But yeah, I say hold on on more once more. But before we move on, Victor, anything you want to say about the Buccaneers?
I just, they're gonna be in it. I just because of that division. You still got to face the Panthers. You still got to face the rest of those teams in that division. But we've talked about it, as you said, with House of Horns. This 7 seed is going to be up for grabs in the NFC. You're going to have the Rams in it. You're going to have the Buccaneers. You're going to have the Commanders. But when it comes to the Buccaneers, they have a really good defense. I don't put a lot of uh, a blame on Mayfield here, just because he's coming into a new system and he's trying to learn everybody. He does have good weapons, and so you know what you're getting from him. Unfortunately, they keep running into these really good teams and they keep not winning. So eventually, I think the big loss was last week, losing to the Falcons.
Yeah.
And even when the Falcons were trying to give that game away, they
Three
had
fumbles by
opportunity.
Ritter, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we can move on if you
All right.
like. All
Let's
right,
go
let's
to the
go.
game of the week.
Here we go. Our headline game of the week is Bengals and 49ers, Gilbert.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts here, and to kind of give what I was thinking before the Brock Purdy injury, I picked the 49ers straight up, and then my bosses at SI were like, "Hey, do you want to change your pick because we want your picks to come in by Wednesday morning, or for me Tuesday evening, because they're on East Coast time, so I don't want to wake up too early to get my picks in. And like, hey, you want to change? I'm like, I thought about it. No, and not because of the Sam Darnold reason. I think Victor, you're gonna take that one, but
Yes.
I just feel like the 49ers defense has too much talent. They got carved up a week ago or Monday by Kirk Cousins, and I think this 49ers defense is going to be angry. They play much better at home, and yes, Joe Burrow is better than Kirk Cousins, and Joe Burrow is rested and probably healthier from the last time we saw him, and they're surging like we keep saying, Jamar Chase, T Higgins, and that crew. So it's a challenge, but this is not like the Buccaneers. This is the freaking 49ers. Like, this is a really good team. You cannot lose 3 consecutive games. So I go off of like being a good team, and it does hurt, like the reason I don't really trust Sam Darnold, he is turnover prone. He gives you a lot of interceptions, and I saw it in Carolina. I saw it in New York. I get Kyle Shanahan as a quarterback whisperer, but the interceptions are going to scare me, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on your defense. So I see a defensive performance. Nick Bosa just got paid. People are criticizing Nick Bosa. He hasn't done much this year. Javon Hargrave, you spent money on. So that's why I like him, Vic. That's why I'm sticking with the 49ers. I don't feel good about Sam Darnold, but I know you have different reasons.
Yeah, I really do like the 49ers in this game a lot, just because even if they have the backup in Sam Darnold, you know what you're getting from Shanahan. Um, and with the Bengals, you go back to it, they've been really good. The one thing I've been really impressed with, we had this little rant on House of Horns yesterday where we talked about all these defensive coordinators not getting any love because all the offensive gurus that everybody talks about, they keep getting all the love, and defensive coordinators aren't getting that respect. And now he's Shanahan is facing a third really good coordinator in Lou Adarumo.
And a room, I think. Yeah. There you go.
Adarumo, there we
Yeah.
go. And he's gonna look at the way the Vikings blitz, the 49ers, and he's also gonna look at what Cleveland did with Jim Schwartz. And I think this is going to be a closer game than people expect. But I think that's the side of the ball that I'm really intrigued by, Gilbert, because I want to see how Shanahan now has to, like, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about it for this week was it looks like the explosion of offense that we had in 2018 and 2019. I think people are catching up, and these coordinators are making the adjustment. And I think that's the reason we're seeing the offense, not be as good around the league this season. And we're seeing record lows in points. I think the average margin this year for points is 20. So that's something to keep an eye on, and that'll be my kind of like key matchup is going to be the defensive coordinator for the Bengals and Kyle Shanahan.
You know how we talked about I think maybe it was like 20 something games, but Kyle Shanahan has now won a game when his team is trailing by 8 points into the fourth quarter. Watch it happen this week, and Sam Darnold does a rally, and it's like everybody lose their mind. Let's start Sam Darnold and not Brock Purdy. So I could totally see that happening. But yeah, real quick, I think this game was plus 5.5 for the Bengals before the Purdy injury. Now it's -4 for the 49ers. So I don't like taking the points down for the Bengals. I would have taken them for 5.5 for sure, close, but I don't feel good about +4 for the Bengals. But that's a new line there, and yeah, I'm just intrigued to see what Kyle Shanahan does with Sam Darnold and no Debo. Hopefully they have Trent Williams. That's going to be a big key right there, because you could definitely rely on the running game, Christian McCaffrey, and Vic, going off of the trend of less points in the last couple of years. I think it's because of Vic Fangio's scheme. Everybody's, saying you're not going to beat us down the field. We're going to have this roof over here, and you're going to just dump it off, run the football. And the ones that are winning, and the ones that know how to run the football, they're making the adjustments there. And obviously, the 49ers can run the football, but the blocking has been terrible. The offensive line has been pretty off. And when you take out Trent Williams, that's very concerning. And then you have Trey Hendrickson and you got Sam Hubbard. So I'm worried about that, but we'll see if Trent Williams plays or not. But on the other side too, like, this Bengals offensive line has not been good. They went and spent money on Orlando Brown Jr. and that's why the Bengals were struggling. Yeah, Joe Burrow couldn't move around, but that's what I'm saying. Nick Bosa step up. So I can see low scoring game. Both offenses struggling here, but I don't know. I'm fascinated to see what happens with Sam Darnold, especially with that streak that we all caught wind of about Kyle Shanahan not being able to overcome a deficit of 8 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's part of that, the offense hasn't been that good for them, especially when, they fall behind by more than 8 points. But I just wanted to, you know, in terms of the Bengals, the other thing too, like I think the last game against the Seahawks, before I forget, was I think that was Burrow's lowest passing yards that he's ever had as a pro against the Seahawks as well, and they barely
True.
scraped by. They
Yeah.
could have lost that game if the Seahawks and Geno Smith they had two cracks at the at the end zone there towards the end of the fourth quarter, and they just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And it goes back to the defensive coordinator blitzing you know the Seahawks offense and being able to get to Geno Smith. So, like I said, that this is why it's our headline game of the week is because it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these these coordinators and how the how they the chess game between these two coordinators. That'll be interesting. We have a comment here. Uh, we have there we
Josh,
go.
holding it down,
Josh,
Josh.
yes.
Can you rank Myers, Jacoby Myers, I'm assuming, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore from best to worst? I'll go DJ Moore this week because he's playing the Chargers. Christian Kirk number 2 and Jacoby Myers number 3. What do you think?
Yep, I'm right with you. Now that Jimmy G is back, he is his that is Jacoby Myers. Well, that is his favorite target. That and when I say his is it's
That's
Jacoby
true.
Myers.
Is
Yeah.
he on track to play then, Jimmy G?
Yeah, he is gonna play as he practiced today, so he is on track to play on Monday. And then we got one more from Josh. Also, do you like Connor or Jones rest of the season? I'll tell you this: it's Connor the rest of the season because Jones can't even get on the field.
Ugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do have Jones in my other league. I only have 2 leagues. I can't do more than 2, and Jones has been very frustrating. And before we move on, Victor, what do you think about -4? Will you take the Bengals for the plus
Um,
4?
I will take the 49ers in this game.
Okay.
I like I said, I still like the 49ers even with Sam Darnold. They're at home. They play better at home. They're a completely different team when they play at home, the 49ers.
Okay. Well, we agree here, and you will let us know more about the Sam Darnold storyline. But we
Yes.
agree on the 49ers, and let's move on to the tier 2 games. We got 2 very intriguing games as well.
Yeah, we're gonna get it started here with some 4-2 teams. Let's start off with Jaguars and Steelers. What do you got for us?
Yeah, this one I'm very intrigued about for a few reasons, and I hate when I go with this type of analysis. It's just kind of like a feeling, and this is what I'm gonna go with. I've been very impressed with the Jaguars. Like the more I think about, like, man, 4 game winning streak, and from October 1st to October 19th, they won 2 games in London. They went back home to Jacksonville and they beat down the Colts. They go to New Orleans and they beat the Saints. So and they beat the Bills in London too, and the Falcons. So that's 4 consecutive games. A lot of travel. Hopefully Victor's talking. Victor, you're back. Okay. Am
There we
I?
go.
I'm back. Where
There
did
you
I
go.
stop? Where did the Wi-Fi turn go
I
terrible for me?
You were talking about the Jaguars and how impressed you've been with them.
Okay, well, I was gonna say they've been in London, New Orleans, Jacksonville, a lot of road trips there, and then they have the bye week coming up, and I feel like they're gonna be looking at that bye week and say we're really tired. Now I have to go to Pittsburgh and play a very physical team, and the Steelers I can't figure them out. Keep
And we lost Gilbert again. Hopefully he gets back into it here. But
Winston's
I
back,
there we go.
and then my Wi-Fi sucks like the Steelers offense. There you go. But
Yeah.
go ahead, Victor, and take it away in case my Wi-Fi craps out again. But I just like the Steelers in this game just because of what I just laid out.
I was gonna just go over what George Pickens said about the Jaguars having a hope defense when it comes to stopping the pass,
Wow.
and you don't you never want to give a team bulletin material, and it looks like the George Pickens has done that here. You don't want to. It's just that's something you just don't want to do. And I get it. Like the Jaguars, that's one of the areas where I've been really impressed with is their defense. They're the ones that have actually gotten them to this point where they're 5-2, right? Am
Uh,
I
yes, they are. They
Yeah,
haven't had
5
their
and
bye week.
2. Yeah, 5 and 2. So, that's been the impressive thing is their defense. They've gotten better and better as the season has gone on. The offense just feels like they're still trying to figure it out. I know they're feeding Travis Etienne a lot, and that's been good to see. But you kind of I expected more from Trevor Lawrence this season, Gilbert. I don't know about you,
Yes.
but and then in terms of the Steelers, you talked about offensively how bad they've been, but they've gotten some things together. Especially we saw against the Rams that fourth quarter they went into the fourth quarter under 200 yards, and then they just exploded for like I think it was almost 200 and something yards in the fourth quarter. Two long drives where they scored touchdowns, and defensively, TJ Watt, he's still there. I know we continue to talk about, Miles Garrett perhaps running away with the defensive player of the year, but TJ Watt isn't going anywhere. He had a great interception there where he read what Matthew Stafford was he was trying to get the ball to Cooper Cup, and he got right in front and got the interception. So this is a really good, it'll be a defensive struggle. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, but I really like the Jaguars in this game just because they have a little bit more offensive weapons.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not a big fan of the Steelers' offense, but like I mentioned, I really like what I saw from Deontay Johnson, giving this offense another element. And then Najee Harris, got to the end zone. They finally did something there. So there's a lot of talent, but I just feel like they are at home. They are feeling good about that Rams game, and they're fine. There's like even George Pickens now feels so confident. So I like how we're both going off the field storylines. Like you got the Pickens one, I got the Jaguars. I just feel like they're gonna be tired. Like they're a good team, but I don't think they're that great. And that's a big time grind there. So again, if I lose this one, that's because I have a terrible, I guess, gut feeling about teams. But yeah, the Jaguars are doing well. And to answer your question about Trevor Lawrence, like it was a gutsy performance to come back on 4 days rest with that knee injury, and then he's running around the whole time like he was just carrying his offense. So I did like that, but you got to get in that zone where just you're like you're the pocket assassin. Where like Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and when Zay Jones comes back, like Evan Ingram, I haven't heard much about him. Like get all these guys going and spread the ball around. You have so many weapons, and you have a good coach in Doug Peterson. Like that's the Trevor Lawrence we're all waiting for. And when you're playing a very good, Steelers defense with TJ Watt and Minka and all these the whole gang there, it could be difficult. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars go off like they've been in the past month.
Do you think that having those extra days off after Thursday night football helps him here?
It
You
could
know,
help.
and- yeah,
I
I
just feel
just
like
think
they're looking at that bye week like, oh man, we've been traveling so long, and it's right there. But I could be totally off here. And then, my thing this week, Vic, after such a terrible week last week, I'm picking more home teams. I'm after so many upsets, I'm just gonna start favoring a little more home teams, and maybe that's what I'm doing here. I feel like
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It's just hard for me to pick against the Jaguars right now, especially with how they're rolling. I mean, we see, I kept counting them out. I picked against them against the Bills. They won. They went into, they were there
yep.
for 2 weeks and they won, you know. And so, and then I thought the Colts were gonna keep it close. They blew out the Colts, and so I'm not picking against them anymore. And I understand the Steelers are playing better. They came off a bye. They continue the streak with with Mike Tomlin now with 7 straight wins coming off of a bye. And I understand, and I get all that, and they're going to be at home, and the terrible towels are going to be going. But And it and it reminds me of that one year where I made the Jaguars my team. That was the team I was gonna follow, and they end up in they end up in the playoffs, and they almost beat the Steelers, and but
That's true.
it'll be fun. But I'm gonna stick with the Jaguars
All
here
right.
and pick them here.
We're split here. That's good to have a little difference of opinion, but I'm ready to the next one is Seahawks Browns, right?
Yep. Go ahead,
All right.
Gilbert.
All right. Yeah, if PJ Walker plays again, and even if it's not PJ, if it's Deshaun Watson, we have not seen anything from Deshaun Watson, one of the worst signings in NFL history. But I guess they still have 4 or 5 years on the contract before I say that. But it's been very bad for Deshaun Watson. But if it is PJ Walker, I think the PJ Walker experience, like Baker Mayfield, I said earlier, it's gonna go downhill. Like you're gonna go all the way to Seattle. You haven't really done much. You like the first game the defense just had a great performance against the 49ers. The second game, Miles Garrett did all the work against the Colts. Like, and I get PJ Walker is doing his game managing thing, is doing a good job with that. Giving the ball to Kareem Hunt and the running backs there. But going into Seattle, it just seems like a hostile environment. They don't have enough offense. Yeah, the defense could keep them in the game, but I think again another home team I'm going to favor here. But I got to see more from Geno Smith. Hopefully DK Metcalf plays. Maybe they get Jackson Smith and Jigba more involved. They did last week, but that Seahawks offense has not been clicking totally right. So they could be trouble there, but I just don't like PJ Walker going all the way to Seattle in a hostile environment.
You know, I was dead set on going with the Seahawks, and then you reminded me about the Seahawks and who they played last week, and that was the Cardinals. And I thought it was going to be a blowout, mind you, as you also pointed out, no DK in that game, and I'm still trying to figure this team out with the Seahawks. I know what I'm getting with the Browns. They're gonna try to run the ball, and defensively they're gonna hold you down, and they're gonna win you with defense and running the ball, and hope that PJ Walker makes enough plays. And I think that's a good recipe, especially in today's football, Gilbert. And so I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say that the Browns go into Seattle and win. We've seen teams, we saw the Rams go in there. I thought, being in front of the 12s is going to be a big advantage. But even the Cardinals hung around with the Seahawks last week. And so after what I saw, I thought they were cooked against. I know they had help from the referees, but I thought they were cooked by the Colts. The Colts got on them. They were scoring points, you know, a great job, and I'll talk about the Colts later on when we do our picks. But I just think that what the Browns are doing, they know their identity. What I'm more concerned about is what the heck is going on with Deshaun Watson and that injury. Like they just need to either put him on injury reserve and stop messing around like with him, because I'm not saying that he's to blame for it, but I also it's starting to sound like they're trying to push him to play just because they gave up so much capital for him, and they're paying him so much guarantee money. But I'm gonna go with the Browns in this game.
Yeah, I could totally see a bounce back performance from that defense. Like if that defense plays the way it did against the Colts, they have no chance. I feel like, but I think it was a one bad game. I feel like for the Browns defense, and I hope I'm right because I thought the Browns defense were the best defense a couple weeks ago. So hopefully they make me look right here. But the other thing too for the Seahawks, to add to your point, they lost Uchenna Nwosu, their best pass rusher. That's going to be a big issue. They signed Frank Clark. But we'll see. Still very good secondary though. I don't see PJ Walker throwing on Devin Witherspoon and Rick Willen there. So and then they got Bobby Wagner, they got Jordan Brooks there. So still very good defense there. It's just for me, I can't really rely on PJ Walker. But then again, the Browns scored 39 points a week ago that nobody saw coming. So that is the beauty of the NFL. It doesn't matter, the quarterback, and things could always go sideways. So again, we're split here, Victor, but I am ready to move on from this game. I got Seattle, you got the Browns.
Yep. All right. We have our water cooler storyline of the week. What are the things that everybody's gonna be talking about come Monday, Gilbert? Go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, and again, a reminder: if you're watching, or if you're watching the replay of this live, go ahead and leave a comment too. We might respond in the comments, but don't be shy. Drop fantasy football questions, or is it just you, Josh? Drop more fantasy football questions. That's fine too. But game picks questions, or just a takeaway about the NFL, that's great too. Again, we want to be engaging and get people involved here for the Looking Ahead show. But yeah, water cooler storylines of the week. That's us predicting the future. This has not occurred, but we expect it to happen for Sunday. And for me, I think people are going to be saying, "Oh, look at the Cowboys! They're back. They beat the Rams." And I know people in House of Horns watching this don't want to hear that, but if the Cowboys, like I'm predicting, beat the Rams, they're gonna hear it. It's gonna be they're gonna be 5-2, 2 game winning streak, and we're all gonna forget about the 49ers beatdown. And I would still call the Cowboys pretenders at that point, but we're all gonna hear it. I think they're gonna have a good game against the Rams, and I think it could be a good game for Dak Prescott. I predicted on House of Horns 30-20, so I'm expecting a good day for the offense here. So CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, get ready. A lot of Cowboys talk for the week.
Yeah, I mean, and my biggest, I guess, my only worry about that prediction, Gilbert, is that I forgot that the Cowboys are playing the Eagles next week, and they could be looking ahead and might look past the Rams. So that's my only worried with that. But I like it. I mean, look, you win 2 games against the LA teams back to back. That's a good little momentum going into that Eagles game. So I like that. What's the next one for you?
Yeah, oh, and one more thing. Luckily, the Cowboys like to roll over for the good teams and play well against the so-so teams. So maybe it doesn't matter. But I don't buy into the Cowboys. We'll see what happens with the Eagles game. But after what I saw with the 49ers, I'm done with them. But I see them still beating the kind of the average teams there. So moving on for me, the other one was for some reason I'm just expecting a shootout between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. Texans are playing in Carolina. I think that's where it is. Yeah, Texans at Panthers, and I know the Panthers are 0-6, and Bryce Young has struggled. But if you look at their last 2 games, they've gotten to like 24 points, I think, or 21 points and 124, and then they had the bye week, so you should be expecting their best performance, I think. But it's still the Panthers. But at the end of the day, but for some reason, Stroud and Bryce Young feels like it'd be a fun, entertaining game. And who saw the Colts and the Browns having a shootout last week? So that's gonna be my surprise of the week. We're gonna be talking about how fun the game between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud is come Monday. And Frank Reich, the head coach of the Panthers, got asked today already if he has any regrets about taking Bryce Young. So people are already down on Bryce Young. I think he's gonna have a decent game. It should be fun all around. What do you think?
Yeah, and according to some people, it sounds like the owner picked Young there,
Uh-oh.
Bryce Young, instead of taking Stroud, who everybody expected them to take just because Frank Wright has always had bigger, taller quarterbacks, and it's starting to look like a bad decision there. So I don't blame people for asking that. Frank Reich has also given up play calling, so that's also a thing.
Should be a good thing.
Yes, but I wanted to ask you, just going off of this, who is your rookie of the year? So is it Stroud or is it Puka Nakua?
It is Stroud because I'm being quarterback bias. I think it's a hard position to play, and this guy's accuracy and just the way, like what I was talking about Trevor Lawrence earlier. I was gonna say, why can't Trevor Lawrence do what Stroud is doing, which is weird because he's a rookie, but he is getting so many guys involved, and his weapons are not nowhere near as talented as the Jaguars. But and by the way, I've been a fan of Nico Collins, but with Stroud throwing the ball, Nico Collins has been a for sure #1 wide receiver. He's gotten Dalton Schultz involved the last couple of weeks. Like he's doing a lot of great things as a quarterback. But it's Stroud and definitely Puka Nakua #2. But they are neck and neck in a good race there.
Yeah, and they're running that Shanahan offense, and I'm sure that'll segue perfectly because Stroud fits that quarterback that they want, like the Shanahans, the Lafleurs, the McVays. They want this kind of quarterback, and and it leads right into what I'm gonna go with on
Well, one more
Monday.
thing, Vic. I wanna get
Go
my
ahead.
pick real quick.
Yeah.
Give me the Texans to beat the Panthers, and I think even the -3 I'll take. But, yeah, I just wanna say
Yeah,
my
oh
pick real
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans as well. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, yeah, that's good pick there. Especially I think we both said that we like the Texans to get into the playoffs in the AFC, maybe win 10 games. And I think, part of it has to do with that schedule they have the rest of the way. And it'll continue with the win over the Panthers. We both agree on that. So getting to mine is Sam Darnold balls out, and we have a quarterback controversy in San Francisco. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that as Brock Purdy did practice, but I've also seen other quarterbacks practice after a concussion and be held out. They don't get the okay from the doctor to play with the concussion. And I think Adam Schefter has also given out stats about usually, most players, the majority of players have missed the next game after having a concussion. So, having said all that, if it is Sam Darnold who plays on Sunday versus the Bengals, I'm saying that Sam Darnold is going to ball out, and then we're going to have a quarterback controversy. As you know, Gilbert, I said before the season that one of my bold prediction was that Sam Darnold would be the quarterback for the 49ers in the playoffs. And it's there's a little opening there for that to happen. And I believe that one of the things I've always said about Kyle Shanahan is that he falls in and out of love with quarterbacks. And we heard all the stories about Sam Darnold during training camp. And if he balls out, guess what, Gilbert? We're going to have a quarterback controversy in San Francisco.
The biggest question I gotta ask you, what makes you believe that Sam Darnold's gonna do something? And I get he has all these weapons, but no Debo Samuel. I think that counts for something. And I've seen this guy too many times to have faith in Sam Darnold, but you're right. Shanahan has this weird thing where like he just sees quarterbacks and tries to fix them. Like he doesn't like to go like he tried his hardest to go new age quarterback with Trey Lance, but he just didn't really seem interested. He wants kind of like just a regular statue back there, pocket passer, and just kind of run his offense there. But Darnold is just turnover prone for me, and I don't. People keep saying this, but I don't see it. But let me know what I'm missing here with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he's the best thrower of the football. Haven't you heard, Gilbert?
Yeah,
Um,
that's the one.
something I can't I can't tell you that, from past history that he's gonna be better. I can only tell you, I've seen quarterbacks get their third opportunity and be able to run with it. Now, everything's here for him, as you said. And I love your comparison there because it's a lot like how most people in when they're trying to look for someone, they said I can fix that person. That's the same thing that Kyle Shanahan has. I think he feels like he's in a new relationship every
Yeah.
other year.
Save a
And
quarterback, Shanahan.
yes, and so yeah, exactly, pick a quarterback by now, like you have two here. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, especially if Sam Darnold does ball out. And then 49er fans, like they've been through this. They've seen it with Jimmy G, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. They know this. They've seen this story before, so they won't be surprised by this.
Yeah, all right. We'll see what happens, but at least we both decided on the 49ers beating the Bengals, and we'll find out for the controversy. But are we ready to move on? Is it time for the bets? I think the
Yes,
locks
it's
of
our
the week.
betting locks of the week. Let's go over what happened last week. Last week, Gilbert, I'll start off with you. Your number 5 was the Bills minus 8.5. That did not hit. Your number 4 was Packers minus 1 versus the Broncos. That didn't hit. You had as your number 3, you had the Chargers at plus 5.5. That did not hit. And then you hit your last two, which was Falcons versus Buccaneers 38 and a half, the under. And then you also had the Lions and the Ravens 41 and a half over. So that gave you a total of 3 points. And then after last week, you're up to 12 points. And then I'll go over mine quickly. My number 5 was a prop. Daniel Carlson 1.5 field goals. By the way, thank you, McDaniels, for not going for the touchdown there and kicking the field goal when you really didn't need to. The number 4 was Rams Steelers 44 under. I hit that one. And then my number 3 was the Browns and Colts 41 under. I did not hit that one. My number 2 was the Chargers and Chiefs as well, 5.5. I did not hit that one. And then Dolphins and Eagles, 52 under. I hit that one. So that gave me a total of 10 points. And as of now, I am at 11 points. So I am 1 point behind you. So go ahead and start us off for your best bets of the week.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I should move up my my total bets. I do better with my total bets and spread pick games, but I won't change. It's too late in the game, so I'll give you. It's gonna be three spread games and then two total over under bets here. So my 5 game for 5 points, right? Those are the rules,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
first one. I like the Seahawks minus 3.5. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't trust the Browns offense going over to a hostile environment. I think the Seahawks, like, maybe it could be close, but I guess I still see Seahawks winning by 6 or 7 points here. So I have a lot of faith there, and that's gonna be my 5 pointer right there. And then for my 4 points here, like I mentioned, I do like the Steelers. That's gonna be my underdog of the week, plus 2.5. Take the points and even the money line if you want. I think the Steelers are gonna beat the Jaguars because I just feel like the Jaguars have too many miles there. They're gonna be too tired. So that's my 4 pointer. And then for my 3, like I mentioned again, sorry, House of Horns. I think Cowboys are gonna have a good game -6 Cowboys at home. I noticed a trend all home teams this week. Cowboys -6 against the Rams. Give me that for the 3 pointer. And then for the number 2, Chiefs versus Broncos, 46.5. Give me the under because the first game was 19-8. What is that? 27 points there. So give me the Chiefs and the Broncos with the under 46.5. And one more under because they're not scoring points this season, right? Raiders versus Lions, Monday Night Football, 45.5. Give me the under in that game too. I just feel like the Lions are going to run the football, and then the Raiders can't score points. There you go.
All right, Gilbert. Are you? Can you hear me? I just want to make
Yeah.
sure you
Yeah,
can
I
hear
got
me.
you.
All right then. All right. Mine is gonna be my number 5 is Saints and Colts 43.5. The over. Uh, I really love a stat that Fernando gave us on regular Compas, where he said that the Colts are the only team that has scored over 25 points this season. I really like what they did against a really good Browns team. They're at home. They play really well at home. And the Saints, I think they can score at least 20 points. So I'm gonna say this is my over here. Then I my number 4 is the Cardinals and Ravens at -9.5. I really like what the Ravens are doing, especially after what I saw against the Lions. I think the Cardinals are trying to get ready for Kyler Murray to come back.
Yeah.
And so I think the Ravens are gonna feast here. It's gonna be a blowout. My number 3 is actually a prop, and it's a Daryl Henderson 43.5 rushing yards against the Cowboys. I really like that one. Um, and then my number 2 is the Rams plus 6.5. I really like the Rams to keep it close in that game, and they'll cover there. And then my last one, I gave you guys. I told you about the Raiders. I said they're really bad in 10 a.m. games. Well, guess what? They keep it close in prime time games, and I think they stay with the Lions. I think they
Wow.
still lose, but I think they cover here. It's +8, so that'll be my number 1.
Wow. You taking two underdogs here with the +8 Raiders and the +6.5 for the Rams. Cool.
Yep.
I like it. Bold.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you also even but you're taking a Ravens -9.5. That's a lot of points to cover. But after what they did a week ago, you onto something there. So I do like that. But we'll see who wins. At the first week doing well, you get the second week. So let's see who comes out on top for week 8. But we're ready for the quick dump offs, right?
There we go. Yeah, games that we haven't discussed yet. So we're gonna do here. We're gonna go quickly and pick the games. Let's start off with Patriots against the Dolphins. Gilbert, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, let me pull up the spread here real quick. Oh, Dolphins minus 9.5. Man, after what the Patriots have did last week, you know what? Fine, give me the Patriots plus 9.5, but I'm taking the Dolphins to win that game for sure.
I'm with you there. I do like, especially with Bill Belichick finally getting. I think he was kind of, trying to get to that 300th win. Now that the monkey's off his back, trying to get that 300th win. I think they stay with the Dolphins. We don't know what's going to happen with Tyreek. Hopefully he plays in this game. But I'm with you. Even if he doesn't play, I really like what the Dolphins do. I am a little I kind I'm interested to see how Belichick what he does on defense against that offense, what adjustments he
Yeah.
makes after seeing them earlier in the season. So, but I'm with you on both, with the Dolphins winning and the Patriots covering here.
Yeah. And the next one's Vikings Packers, right?
Yep.
And Vikings are minus 1.5 here, but they are the road team. They're going to Lambeau, and to me, the Packers have been very disappointing. I was high on them early on. I'm like, oh, look at Jordan Love. You know, they're winning. They're either winning games or staying close in games because of Jordan Love. Now he's just a turnover machine. He can't figure it out. Matt LaFleur can't get this offense going. So I think the Vikings are a little more talented. I know they're on the road, but I like what I saw a week ago. So give me the Vikings and to cover minus 1.5.
I really like the Vikings, but they're also on a short week, which kind of
Mm.
concerns me. The Packers play better at home. I think they get things back on track, and I like the Packers here. I know a lot of people are down on them, but they did go on a West Coast trip, for back-to-back weeks, and no, for 3 weeks because they even had to buy in between there. And so that kind of stuff can, especially they have such a young team. Younger teams usually play better at home, so that's why I'm gonna go with the Packers here.
What we got next? Saints, Colts, right?
Yes.
That's a pick 'em pretty much. Saints minus one. I keep you know what? I gave the Saints a chance a week ago. They burned me on Thursday Night Football against the Jaguars. So give me the Colts at home and they get the plus one. So give me Indy. And yeah, Minshew did okay last week. They got 38 points.
Yeah, and as we talked about, they're the only teams that has scored over 25 points, the Colts. So give me the Colts here as well. The Saints, if they were playing at home, maybe I give them more of a shot, but the Colts just play way better at home as well. That's another one where you want to go with the home team here.
Okay. We agree there. Now it's Eagles at Commanders. Eagles are minus seven. Now here, like the trend is, oh, the Commanders always play the Eagles very close. Well, they already happened earlier this season. I think the Eagles won in overtime. I think the Commanders are ready to roll over. The trade deadline's coming up. They're gonna probably trade Montez Sweat and Chase Young. The new ownership is not happy. Matthew Johnson's tweeting, and he is not happy about this team. So I don't see it being close here. Maybe they'll score points here, but give me the Eagles to cover minus seven. I know it's a road team. I'm breaking my rule here for my bounce back week that I'm trying to get, but I don't like what the Commanders are doing right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Eagles showed me a lot, especially against the Dolphins. My only concern, and you pointed it out with all the stuff that you just said, my only concern is what happens. This is a really physical team, and that's if they're able to run the ball against the Eagles, I think this is where Washington can keep it close. But I'm with you. The Eagles just look like they have finally found their identity. I wasn't sure for a couple weeks, but after what I saw last week against the Dolphins, I think they found their identity, and I think they roll over the Commanders as well. I'm with you.
Cool. Let's get to Sunday night football. The Chargers are hosting the Bears, and the Bears are plus 8.5. They're heavy road dogs here. Tyson Badgett should play again. I think he's gonna play. Justin Fields is not ready to go. And I don't feel comfortable giving the Chargers minus 8.5. They've been a big disappointment this year. They're gonna win. They're at home. They're playing still the Bears. I know they beat the Raiders last week, but give me the Chargers a win. But I think the Bears will cover it. No way I see them blowing out the Bears.
This is where the Chargers, where nobody expects anything from them, this is when they show up. And then the Bears on prime time, we saw them earlier in the season. They did really well against the Commanders. I think Tyson Badgett is finally gonna, you know, fall back into reality, and I think the Chargers do blow them out here. I just
Wow.
don't see it. I think it's going to be a boring game. I saw someone, I think it was Bill Simmons, said when they were previewing this game on Sunday night last week, they said, "Well, it's the kind of game where you say to your wife or your girlfriend, "Hey, I'm going to take you out to dinner because there's not much going on Sunday night football." So, yeah, I don't think there's going to be a pick demand for this game on Sunday, unfortunately. I still
Yeah.
don't know, Gilbert, why they didn't flex out of this game, but NBC must know something we don't.
Yeah, maybe they're expecting a close game, and that would be more to my point. But I just looked at the Chargers, and yeah, that was a funny take there because it's going to be a game that I'll be there in person. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'll be there. But the only game the Chargers have not played as a one score game was last week when they got beat down by the Chiefs. So maybe they're not playing. Maybe they'll do reverse and they'll blow out the Bears. But they've been in way too many close games. They've been a big disappointment. But when you hear how many times you've been a disappointment, maybe they'll wake up for that one. But what we got next? Is it
Jets and Giants.
okay? And that one, the Jets are -3, and they're both home teams, so who cares about that? But the Jets are technically the home team, and no, sorry, the Giants are the home team. Sorry, but give me the Jets are coming off a bye week. The Giants have been pretty feisty defensively, but they can't score points. But the Jets don't really score points either. It might be a close one, but I just like what the Jets have done the last few weeks before the bye week. So give me the Jets -3.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Jets. I tried to find a way to go with the Giants here, as you said, they're the home team, but not technically. It doesn't really matter. I just love that Jets defense and what they're doing right now. They just, even without their two corners, there's, that's the one thing about a really good defense, Gilbert, is that I've noticed is that if you have guys who can come in for your two starters, you have a really special defense. And I think, the Jets, as long as Zach Wilson just does his job, and it's pretty much what they've been able to do the last 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going with the Jets as well.
Okay. Let's go Falcons at Tennessee Titans. I think the Falcons are -2.5. And this is gonna be kind of my trend of the week. The teams are about to be sellers at the trade deadline. I expect a lot of flat performances from those teams because a lot of uncertainty surrounding the players. And the Titans are already starting the fire sale. They just traded Kevin Byard. Who knows if it's D Hop next or Derrick Henry or even Ryan Tannehill. And they're going to start Will Levis, probably the rookie quarterback out of Kentucky. So,
They're gonna
you,
play both Malik.
yeah, that sounds
Malik,
like a mess too. By the way,
yes.
Malik Willis and Will Levis going back and forth. No, no, no. Give me the Falcons, even though I don't like the Falcons this year because they can't score points. Take the under probably in this game. I think, but it's really low. It's like I think it's about 36.5. But give me the Falcons. What do you think?
You know, what I am really impressed with when it comes to the Falcons is their defense. They got this defensive coordinator, and I'm gonna keep talking about. I'm gonna keep giving love to the defensive coordinators here because they got this defensive coordinator from the Saints, and I think the best part of this team has been the Falcons defense. And they got big dudes, and I think this is gonna be. I would take the under here too. I'm with you. And I think it's going to be a big old physical game between two teams that love to run the ball and just love to muck it up defensively. And I think that's what you're going to get. It'll probably be like a 20-10 game, 20-5, some weird score, but I like the Falcons here. And Gilbert, I'm sold on the Falcons. I think they win the division now. I just don't see anybody else from that division. I really like the talent that they have, and I just told you, I'm really impressed with that defense.
Yeah, the only thing is they don't have a quarterback, but it doesn't matter in the NFC South. So I won't disagree there. I did write a story at SI saying they should go trade for Justin Fields, but we'll see if that happens. And even if they do, I don't see Arthur Smith using them right. I don't have any faith in Arthur Smith when it comes to quarterbacks. So, but yeah, one more game here. I know you already gave your pick here for the Ravens and the
Yes.
Cardinals. I did not give mine, so when I saw -9.5, it sounds like a lot, but it is again, like I mentioned, it's going to be rollover week for the teams are going to be sellers. So I'm with you. Cardinals -9.5. Sorry, no, I'm not. That's not what I meant. I am with you. Ravens -9.5. to
There you
beat
go.
down the Cardinals. There you go.
So there we go. That takes care of all our picks in quick dump offs. What do you? What else? What else do you have for the people, Gilbert?
Yeah, like I just mentioned that story. If you want to learn about, the teams are about to trade, their players like sellers. We listed at SI one player those teams should trade, and then also the teams are going to be buyers. One player they should acquire, and we already saw the Eagles get Kevin Byard. Like I mentioned, I want the Falcons to go get Justin Fields because the Bears have 2 first-round picks, or probably be really high first-round picks. If you get draft Caleb Williams or Drake May, they're gonna move on from Justin Fields. So why not just do it now? But that's me dreaming to save Justin Fields, and maybe the Bears don't want that to happen. But that's my story at si.com. Check out all my work. Check out everything we do at House of Horns, What's a Boat, Compas on the Beat. Shout out to Josh because he was in the comments here. A little quiet tonight, but hopefully we get more engagement moving forward with the Looking Ahead show.
Yeah, Gilbert. Give me one trade that for sure happens this before the trade deadline. One, like I'm
Yeah.
not to give anything away from your the story you wrote, but one trade that definitely happens
Uh,
this
I'll be sh- I'll be shocked if the Broncos don't trade people like they like Sean Payton. They're not draft these guys. It's not his roster. This roster stinks. Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, Justin Simmons. Move on. I think Sertan will probably stay, but I see the Broncos doing a pretty busy fire sale.
Well, there you go, guys. Another good show for you guys. We got through all of our preview. Make sure you're checking out all the other channels that we have for you guys. But Gilbert, that's all I have for you tonight.
Yeah, my laptop is about to die, so good timing here. But thank you guys for watching the channel and supporting the show here. But let's move on to week 8 officially. Sunday, here we come. Ya nos vamos, pues vámonos.